Air travel is usually safe, but when a plane crash happens, it can be devastating. Some disasters have claimed hundreds of lives, shaken the world, and changed aviation forever. In this video, we count down the top 10 worst plane crashes in history, tragedies that left a mark on the skies and the people below. Number 10. Japan Airlines Flight 123. On August 12, 1985, Japan Airlines Flight 123 took off from Tokyo to Osaka. At first, everything was normal, but just minutes into the flight, disaster struck. A part at the back of the plane, called the rear pressure bulkhead, broke. This caused a rapid loss of cabin pressure, the tail fin to fall off, and key control systems to fail. With most controls gone, the pilots had a very hard time flying the plane. They fought to keep it in the air for 32 minutes, but the plane eventually crashed into Mount Ogura. Of the 524 people on board, only 4 survived. The cause was traced back to a poor repair done 7 years earlier. After the crash, stricter rules for airplane repairs were put in place to avoid such disasters in the future. Number 9. Deadliest mid-air collision. On November 12, 1996, 2 planes collided in the sky near Charkhi Dadri, about 100 kilometers from Delhi. One was a Kazakhstan Airlines flight, and the other was from Saudi Arabian Airlines. Around 6:40 p.m., the Kazakh plane was told to stay at 14,000 feet, but the pilots reported being at 15,000 feet. Air traffic control warned them that another plane was close. For unknown reasons, the Kazakh plane descended and crashed into the Saudi jet. Both planes caught fire and fell, killing all 349 people on board. Debris rained down on nearby fields. This tragedy led to 2 major changes. English became the required language for all pilots and air traffic controllers. All planes were fitted with TCS, a system that alerts pilots when another aircraft is too close. Number 8. Turkish Airlines Flight 981. On March 3, 1974, Turkish Airlines Flight 981 was flying from Istanbul to London with a stop in Paris. After taking off from Paris, the rear cargo door suddenly blew off while flying over Meaux, about 50 kilometers away. This caused a rapid pressure change that tore part of the cabin floor and pulled 6 passengers out. It also damaged critical controls, making it nearly impossible for the pilots to fly the plane. Just 77 seconds later, the plane crashed into the Ermenonville forest at high speed, killing all 346 people on board. Investigators found that the cargo door wasn't properly locked. A design flaw and the absence of a trained engineer at the airport led a baggage handler to close the door incorrectly. A warning light in the cockpit falsely showed that the door was secure, but the locking pins were never engaged. This tragedy showed how small oversights can lead to major disasters. Number 7. Lockerbie bombing. On December 21, 1988, Pan American Flight 103, a Boeing 747, took off from London to New York. During the flight, it exploded over Lockerbie, Scotland, killing 270 people from 21 countries, including 259 passengers and crew, and 11 people on the ground. At first, it was thought to be a mechanical failure, but later investigations revealed that a bomb hidden in a radio cassette recorder in the cargo hold caused the explosion. The blast created a hole in the plane's side, and the communication systems were destroyed. No distress signal was sent. As a result of this attack, aviation security was overhauled. Today, agencies like the TSA use advanced methods, such as bomb-sniffing dogs and X-ray scanners, to detect explosives. Number 6. Air France Flight 447. On May 31, 2009, Air France Flight 447 took off from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, heading to Paris, France. The flight started smoothly, but it quickly became a disaster. The aircraft, carrying 216 passengers and 12 crew members, encountered turbulent weather and ice crystals as it entered an area with poor radio coverage and tracking. Around 2 a.m., the captain left the cockpit for a rest, and the third pilot took over. 8 minutes later, the plane began experiencing strange symptoms, such as a warm cabin and unusual smells, likely due to ice entering the engines. The autopilot disconnected, and the plane lost airspeed. As the pilot struggled to regain control, the aircraft climbed too high and stalled. In the confusion, the pilots missed key procedures, and the plane began erratically pitching up and down. The aircraft eventually stalled completely and plunged into the Atlantic Ocean, killing all 228 people on board. Number 5. Air India, Flight 182. Air India Flight 182 was the target of a terrorist attack on June 23, 1985. The plane was flying from Canada to India with a stop in London when it exploded in mid-air near the coast of Ireland, killing all 329 people on board. The cause was a bomb hidden in a suitcase which had been loaded onto the plane even though the passenger who checked it in never got on. Most of the victims were Canadian citizens of Indian origin. Shockingly, just an hour earlier, another bomb exploded at Tokyo's Narita airport, killing 2 baggage handlers. That bomb was also meant for an Air India flight, but went off before being loaded. Investigators linked both bombings to Sikh extremists, who were allegedly retaliating for the Indian Army's 1984 operation at the Golden Temple in Punjab. Number 4. Air Canada Flight 797. On June 2, 1983, Air Canada Flight 797 was flying from Dallas to Toronto when smoke was noticed coming from a bathroom. The crew tried to put out the fire before alerting air traffic control. As smoke filled the cabin, the pilots made an emergency landing in Cincinnati. However, their cockpit instruments had already failed, forcing them to fly with little information. Once the doors were opened and people started escaping, a sudden flash fire swept through the cabin just 90 seconds later. Sadly, 23 people died. This tragedy led to improved safety rules, including better cabin materials, smoke detectors, and onboard firefighting systems. Number 3. U.S. Airways Flight 427. On September 8, 1994, U.S. Airways Flight 427 was preparing to land in Pittsburgh when it suddenly rolled left and dropped 5,000 feet, crashing and killing all 132 people on board. Investigators found that the plane's rudder had moved left without pilot control. Boeing and the airline blamed each other, but after 5 years it was confirmed that a jammed valve caused the rudder to move in the wrong direction. Boeing later spent $500 million fixing the issue on thousands of aircraft. Number 2. Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302. On March 10, 2019, Ethiopian Airlines Flight 302 crashed just 6 minutes after takeoff from Addis Ababa, killing all 157 people on board. This tragedy came only 5 months after a similar crash involving Lion Air Flight 610. Both planes were Boeing 737 MAX 8s. Investigators found that a faulty system called Maneuvering Characteristics Augmentation System pushed the plane's nose down repeatedly due to incorrect sensor data. The pilots tried to stop it but couldn't regain control. As a result, the 737 MAX was grounded worldwide until Boeing updated the software and improved pilot training. Number 1. Malaysia Airlines Flight 17. On July 17, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 was flying from Amsterdam to Kuala Lumpur when it was shot down over eastern Ukraine. A Russian-made Buk missile struck the Boeing 777 at cruising altitude, killing all 298 people on board, including 80 children. The missile exploded near the cockpit, destroying the front of the plane and causing it to break apart in the air. Investigators confirmed the missile came from Russian-backed separatists. This tragedy raised global concerns about the dangers of flying over war zones and the need for stricter airspace restrictions. That is all for the video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos.